All right, what's next? Counting patterns within 1,000. Counting pattern. Take two. I'm an excellent speaker. That's why I do this live. Skip count by fives. Okay, let's take a look. I have a feeling that these are going to be pretty quick. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I counted by fives almost in a rhythm. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah, for some reason, it got stuck in my head really early. So, 205, 210, 215, 220, 225, 230. So we are still counting within 1,000 like we've been doing this whole grade, but now we're counting by fives. And we've counted by tens before, right? I think we did that back in first grade. Fatih is counting at 810, or starts counting at 810. She counts by fives. What two numbers does she count next? Well, 815 and 820. Again, the 800 doesn't really come into play. It's just kind of hanging out there while the ones and tens digit are doing their thing, at least until they get up to 95, and then finally the hundreds digit, is gonna roll over. All right, fill in the blanks counting by fives. Let's see, 365 minus 5 is 360. By the way, as always, 370, 375, 380, and 385. I strongly encourage questions and comments in the chat. I try very hard to call them out when I see them because as an educator, I thrive on student questions. And I should probably mention that more often. I do a much better job as an educator when there are questions. And since this is, streaming on Twitch, I can't call on people, and I wouldn't if I could. So if you have any questions or any comments or any other ways of looking at this stuff, please put it in that chat box and I will take a look and I will read it out loud. I took chat off of my screen because sometimes I get spam bots and I don't want them to get the screen time and I don't want to have to go in and edit them out. So I just promise that any questions that I see, any comments that I see, I will call out. Okay, skip counting by 5, 365, 370, 375, that's C. Moving on. We're starting with 430, so that's 435, 440, 445, 450, and then 455. Ollie starts counting at 245, so that would be 5055. Fill in the blanks, counting by fives, that would be 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, and then 65. Something I wanna say really quick, because I'm not sure why it's been happening, but for some reason, for the second problem in a row, I had I don't know, I felt like I was gonna write 70 here. I had, for some reason, just for a moment, I had an impulse. That's the word I was looking for. I had an impulse to write 70. And I don't know why that is. But it's something that I want to call out because, again, I'm always interested in learning about my own thought processes. Why is it I was able to count by fives perfectly all the way up to 60, but for some reason on that very last one, I was about to say 70 and I don't know why. Anyway. Now we're skip counting by tens. So that would be 164. Essentially, we're counting with the middle number now, right? We're counting with the middle number. The 1 and the 4 are going to stay the same, at least until we build up enough to make 100. So this would be 184, 194, and now finally we do change the hundreds place, because now there are enough tens to make 204, but now we go back to the same pattern where only the middle number is changing. And notice that the ones place is never going to change when you count by tens. That's profound, and it's important to note. It's always going to end with a 4. Sophie starts counting at 45 and she counts by tens. So let's look at each of these problems. I've been neglecting, or each of these answers, I've been neglecting to do this. What two numbers did Sophie count next? So 46 and 56, well, she counted by tens once, the second time. But the first time she only added 1, unfortunately, so that's not correct. 55 and 66, well, the 55 is correct. She added 10, but it looks like she accidentally added 11 to get to 66, and we're supposed to be counting by tens, not 11s. 55 and 65, I believe to be correct. And then 50 and 55 is actually correct. For some reason, I thought that I had 45 and 50 up here. This is why you look back at the question before you hit the answer. So yeah, 50 and 55. No, it is 55 and 65. What am I thinking? Yeah, I had it right. I'm going to edit that out. I was about to get it wrong after calling myself out on getting it wrong. It's like mistake inception. I'm actually going to leave that in. Please remember that mistakes are okay. You never look stupid when you make mistakes in math. And you should never ridicule someone else for making mistakes in math. Even weird double mistakes like I just made. Anyway, fill in the blanks by counting by tens. So again, we're kind of only dealing with the middle number. This is 870, 880, 890, 900, 910, and 920. It's my promise to you as an educator. When I screw something up, even if I end up getting the right answer, I want to use those mistakes to help educate and support. Specifically because, again, I don't have a whole lot of viewers giving me questions. No guilt or shade or anything like that. That's my inability to get my name out there. Tina starts counting at 402. She counts by tens. But when I make a mistake, I will absolutely throw a lot of sunlight on that mistake to show all of you that even math teachers make basic math mistakes. Hopefully you will feel less bad about making math mistakes, when you get a problem wrong on your homework, for example. Anyway, counting by tens, 402, 412, 422. All you have to do is point back at my video and say, look, Professor Cunningham psyched himself out twice in a row. He psyched himself out of and then into the right answer. I can't possibly be that bad. 439, 449. John starts counting at 875. He counts by tens. What two numbers does John count next? So that would be 885 and 895. I'm not going to mess it up this time. Should have done that before. What you are now hearing is the silence of me turning off the fan in my computer. Should have done that before the stream started. I am on fire tonight. I need to make sure I'm double and triple checking all of my answers because I have been all over the place tonight. 647, 657, 67, 77, 87, 697. See what I mean? Okay. Skip counting by tens. Now skip counting by 100s. Now, this is going to be the easiest out of all of them because, again, when we're counting by hundreds, we're really only counting by ones. The hundreds digit will never affect the tens or the ones when you're counting by hundreds, right? That 68 will always stay 68. No matter how many hundreds you add on, the 68 will always stay 68. So I'm just going to copy paste in the 68s for all of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Moving on. Les is counting at 42. She counts by hundreds. So next will be 142 and then 242. $110. And again, on this problem set, like if I was a student and I was sitting down and I was doing this problem set, I would actually just count up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I would put the 10 into each one. But you can do it however you want. Hans starts counting at 174. He counts by hundreds. What two numbers does Hans count next? So if he's counting by hundreds, again, it's going to stay 74. Any one of these answers that isn't ending in 74 is automatically wrong because adding hundreds is never going to affect the tens or the ones place. So it's got to be B because everything else is not 74, 74. Fill in the blanks. 425, 525, 625, 725, 825, and 925. And at this time right here, at this exact moment, if I was giving this problem set to a second grader, this would be a perfect time to ask them, hey, by the way, what do you think the next one is? Because it should not be too big of a leap to see that you're going to go from 900s to 1000s. And I'm actually kind of okay with kids saying 1000 instead of 1000. This is math. This isn't like a super, you're not writing a thesis, and being able to get your idea across, especially at this young age, is important. So if they said 1025, I would consider that to be correct. And I think that would be excellent sort of deduction and expansion of the rules by a student. What two numbers does Jada count next? She starts at 476. She counts by hundreds, so that would be 486 and 490. Oh, so that would be 576 and 676. For some reason, I keep wanting to count by tens. I think that's what's been messing me up for all of these problems. For some reason, instead of counting by hundreds, my brain is telling me count by tens, and I don't know why. But it's good to note, and now that I see that mistake in myself, I'm going to make sure I don't make it again, or I'm going to try to make sure I don't make it again. Making a mistake once and recognizing it is not proof against doing it again, trust me. Jada starts counting at 476, so 576 and 676. Now, this is an interesting one. If it wasn't for this 323 here, I could see someone going like 320, and then 420, and then 520, and then 620, and then 720. I could see that. Or 330, I should say. 430, 530, 630, 730. If you accidentally read this 23 as 230 instead of 23, again, the lack of a zero is what you're looking for. So this is 23, so the next 100 will be 123, then 223, 323, 423, etc. Moving on. I also go through, and any mistakes that I don't catch in the moment, I make sure to put a label on them on the YouTube video, just to note when I made a mistake. So we have quiz 4 and a unit test. Let's get this going. Nat starts counting at 596. She counts by tens. Okay, good. So now I actually get to count by tens like I apparently wanted to do all this time. So next it's going to be 606 and then 616. Which image shows an even number of flowers? A has one flower without a partner. B looks even. C has one flower without a pair. Nick starts counting at 495. He counts by fives. What two numbers does Nick count next? Well, that would be 500 and 505. Shay starts counting at 19. He counts by hundreds. Next is 119 and then 219. Again, The part that I need to remember is when counting by hundreds, the tens in the one place is not affected. So I just needed to look for the answer that had 19 for the tens in ones place. Determine whether the number of objects is even or odd. These mice are all paired up nice and neatly, so they are even. These sheep, there is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each of these sheep in these two rows is all paired up, right? So I only need to worry about the top row. So that's a good thing to look at. Let's point that out. I already know that, ooh, that's not my pen. I almost tried to use a real pen on my laptop, or on my tablet. So we have a row of 2 sheep here, or 2 rows of sheep here. We know that this part is even. So all we need to do is check this upper row, and I see that these 2 sheep are together, these 2 sheep are together, and unfortunately there is 1 sheep that is indeed, no matter how we organize them into pairs, there will always be exactly 1 sheep that doesn't have a partner, making this an odd number. And then the ice creams, again, much easier when they're organized into 2 rows, so you can very easily see that they pair up evenly. And that's quiz 4.